Và chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với chương trình Đồng tiền thông minh trên kênh FBNC với cuộc trò chuyện liên quan đến chủ đề những diễn biến của kinh tế thế giới và cơ hội trên thị trường Việt Nam. Với hai vị khách mời của chúng ta ngày hôm nay, đó là Phó Giáo sư Tiến sĩ Nguyễn Trọng Hoài, Phó Hiệu trưởng Đại học Kinh tế Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh và Giáo sư Howard Nicholas, giảng viên Viện Đào tạo Quốc tế Đại học Kinh tế Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Welcome back. So as Dr. Hoài just mentioned in the last part, we have Vietnam still have many challenges in competing with other Asian countries in terms of attracting investment capital from the West. From your perspective, what are some of the best practices or some of the best models from developing countries that you think Vietnam should follow in order to be more competitive?
Right. For me, the starting point should be manufacturing. I think at the moment, if I might be critical of the strategy that Vietnam is adopting, I think it emphasizes too much export agriculture and raw material production. For me, basically, this type of economic strategy has never really resulted in long-term high growth. There's only one strategy that has ever done that, and that is manufacturing. However, the problem is that there are too many competitors at the moment. So the type of manufacturing that Vietnam should get into would be more niche market manufacturing and supporting the supply chains of the successful East Asian countries. So for me, this is the start. It must be export-oriented manufacturing. And this requires a lot of support from government. One particular emphasis that I place is on development banking, state development banking. A lot more attention should be paid to that. And the second, as Dr. Hoài said, is infrastructure. But there, it shouldn't be infrastructure for the sake of infrastructure, but initially, it should really help reduce transportation costs. This, for me, is absolutely key. Because if you're going to build an export economy, then trying to get those costs of production down are absolutely vital. So I think that's a second. And of course, I agreed with him about skills development. And there, I think one has to be a bit careful about the whole shift to private education. I think a good, strong government education system is very important.
Yeah, that's a big topic too.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying that state development banks should play a better role in supporting the economy. So Dr. Hoài, how is our development banks right now in Vietnam?
So now development bank in Vietnam mostly is focusing on the fund from ODA, Official Development Assistance from overseas. Mostly come from Japan, South Korea, something like that. And they are using that fund to finance for infrastructure development in Vietnam at the moment. But I pick up Dr. Howard Nicholas' point that the banking system, from my point of view, not development bank, but the banking system should have a good policies and more focusing on the finance for entrepreneurship or for business sector to invest new technologies, in comparison with other countries in order to absorb the FDI from overseas. It means we should have a good policy to encourage business sector to invest new technology, improve our technology in order to increase our productivities. And then we can compete with other countries to absorb FDI from overseas. That is a good point. But the state development banks in Vietnam, right now, they more focusing on the public projects, focusing on infrastructure investment. That also can reduce investment cost from FDI for business sector.
So what do you think about the possibility of cutting down raw material exporting and moving to more value-added material in 10 years for Vietnam when we try to support the whole economy and try to...
I think there are no options, to be honest. You just cannot progress with raw material production. It doesn't mean to say you have to abandon it.
But what are some of the steps to take?
As I said, I think you really have to give a signal to young entrepreneurs that we're going to back you. And
the bank's going to support you.
development banks have to support you, but then tax structures have to change. So you really have to give a lot of tax exemptions to the exporters. And basically you have to say, if you want to make money in Vietnam from now on, you have to export higher value added manufactured products. I mean, it's really a message that you're giving to people. You're going to also encourage a lot of your young people to come back to Vietnam, because there's so many of them who have been trained outside and then stay outside. And you're going to tell them, actually, your life is going to be much better here. You know, you will make far more money here than you will make outside, especially if you stay in the West. And that should be real and should be tangible. You have a good idea, have a good product, we're going to help you take it to market. And this also means many other facilities. So one thing that many countries have practiced in the past is trading houses. Where actually it's these state-run trading entities that absorb the marketing risks. And you just get on with the production. And I think there are so many lessons to learn. The problem is they're not in the textbooks. So you can't just go to university and learn how to do these things. I think you really, the government has to study what the successful countries have done in the past, adapt it to the present environment, with that basic line that if you want to make money in Vietnam from now on, this is what you do. It was done by Singapore. I mean, they do it consistently well. At the beginning, it was low value added manufacturing. Then they went on to engineering products and products like that. The important things of going to higher and higher value added is then you can raise wages and salaries. And today in Singapore, you want to make money, you do robotics and biotechnology. You want to try and produce garments in Singapore, you have no chance. Absolutely no chance, because there are no incentives, no tax breaks, nothing. But you want to produce, let's say, environmentally sensitive products, environmentally sensitive technologies, because that's the future. Singapore will open all the doors, and they will link you with the research institutions and so on. It's something Vietnam has to do. They have to take on board, these are the products we want, this is what we're going to promote, and we're going to do it.
Thank you so much for sharing, and we'll get back to that. Thank you. Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của Phó Giáo sư Tiến sĩ Nguyễn Trọng Hoài, Phó Hiệu trưởng Đại học Kinh tế Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, và Giáo sư Howard Nicholas, giảng viên Viện Đào tạo Quốc tế Đại học Kinh tế Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, liên quan đến chủ đề những cơ hội cho nền kinh tế Việt Nam trở nên cạnh tranh hơn trong thị trường quốc tế. Chúng tôi có thể quay lại chương trình này sau ít phút nữa. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình trên trang web fbnc.vn hoặc là facebook.com/đồng tiền thông minh. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại với phần tiếp theo.